Every time I read one of those tragic romance novels, I get so frustrated on behalf of the heroine and her useless mouth that I wish I could jump in and speak for her myself. Then, the moment I opened my eyes, I had really transmigrated into the book and become the tragic heroine. And when I arrived, the male lead was in the middle of choking me. If you hadn't drugged me back then, I never would have married you. You vain, greedy woman. You don't love me at all. You're only after my money. I took 2 seconds to process the situation, then suddenly drove my knee upward, slamming it hard into his most vulnerable spot. Damn it. A tragedy novel was still a tragedy novel, right? If I tortured the male lead, that counted as tragedy too. Henry Miller doubled over in agony, cold sweat pouring down his face. His bloodshot eyes glared at me viciously, and beneath his fury was a hint of disbelief. Monica Garcia. I rubbed my aching ear, then spat at him impatiently. Why are you yelling so loudly? Did someone smear laxative on your vocal cords? The situation was a little complicated. To put it simply, I had transmigrated into a book, becoming the humiliated heroine of an old-school tragic romance novel. Henry finally recovered a little. He slowly straightened up, a cold sneer tugging at the corner of his mouth, his entire face dark with menace. So you finally can't keep pretending anymore, can you? All this time, you acted so gentle and obedient around me. Now your true colors are finally showing, aren't they? I had no time to care about how heartbroken the original owner of this body must have been. All I felt was the burning desire to win. I smiled lightly at him and said, my true self is your daddy. Henry, what? Henry flew into a rage. He strode forward and grabbed my wrist, his icy gaze fixed on me. Monica, stop putting on an act. Did I strike a nerve, so now you're lashing out in embarrassment? His hand clamped around my wrist like an iron vice, so hard it made me suck in a breath from the pain. Unable to resist, I repeated my old trick and kicked him viciously in the same vulnerable spot again. So-called domineering CEOs were nothing special after all. Clearly, he never learned from pain. Once again, I struck him where it hurt most, and once again, he collapsed to the floor in pain. Before he could say anything, a graceful, slender woman hurried in and screamed, Henry, are you okay? I narrowed my eyes at the woman who had suddenly appeared. So this was Rachel Garcia, the supporting female character from the original novel. Rachel was the illegitimate daughter born from the heroine's father's affair. It was only after the heroine's mother died of illness that Rachel's mother finally made it through her years of hardship, gloriously rose to power, and became the proper Mrs. Garcia. Rachel was indeed beautiful, with eyes filled with both anger and tears. She glared at me, lashes trembling with moisture. Sis, how could you be so cruel to Henry? He's your husband. I let out a scoff. So you do know he's my husband? What does it have to do with you if I hit my own husband? Did you eat too much salt and get bored from all the free time? A flicker of suspicion flashed through Rachel's eyes. Sis, I know you're jealous because Henry and I are close, but he was only helping me with one small favor. He was just helping me get a role. Only then did I remember that this younger sister of mine was also a minor celebrity. She had taken credit for the original Monica's life-saving kindness toward Henry, and in order to repay her, Henry granted almost her every request. He poured money into promoting her, turning her from an unknown 18th-tier nobody into a rising young star with a bit of recent fame. I sneered. With acting like yours, you still want to be an actress? If my husband hadn't spent money promoting you, who knows which TV drama you'd be polluting the audience in right now. Of course, my husband is deeply sinful too. He upgraded you from harming a small group of viewers to harming the entire nation's audience. Truly a crime against humanity. I had no idea how good Rachel's acting was, but her tears came on command. Sis, I'm your biological sister. Don't you think your words are too harsh? I shrugged indifferently. Are my words harsh? Good. You don't deserve to hear anything pleasant anyway. Rachel still hadn't reacted, but Henry was already feeling sorry for her. Monica, stop bullying Rachel. This has nothing to do with her. If you hadn't shamelessly drugged me back then, the person I should have married was her. You owe her. The words made fury rise in my chest. I rolled up my sleeves, stepped forward, and slapped him hard twice across the face. Then I grabbed his tie and yanked it tight. Henry, you absolute idiot. Is there something wrong with your brain? How many times have I explained that I wasn't the one who drugged you? Are your ears growing out of your ass crack? Do you only listen to farts and not human speech? Rachel, terrified, desperately tugged at my arm, trying to pull me away. I lifted my foot and kicked her so hard she fell flat on her backside. Letting go of Henry's collar, I grabbed Rachel by the hair. You little mistress born from an old mistress really did inherit the family tradition. Your mother was a homewrecker, and now you're one too. Why is it that whenever you mother and daughter see someone else's husband, you rush at him like green-headed flies rushing toward shit? In the original novel, the male lead, Henry, had been targeted for revenge by the Miller family's sworn enemies and nearly burned to death in an arson attack. He escaped the fire with his last breath, but because of a head injury, he temporarily lost both his sight and his memory. While he was wandering the streets in terror and helplessness, the heroine, Monica, found him and cared for him with great devotion. But just after his vision returned, Monica suddenly disappeared. During his recovery, Henry's mind had been muddled, and he had even forgotten Monica's name. He searched for her desperately but found nothing. From then on, Monica became the unattainable moonlight in his heart. Not long afterward, the Miller family and the Garcia family discussed a marriage alliance. The moment Monica saw Henry, she recognized him as the man she had once saved. Her heart was filled with joy, but to her surprise, Henry rejected the marriage alliance without hesitation. He said he already had someone he loved and that he would marry no one but her in this life. Though Monica was disappointed, she did not want to force him. But unexpectedly, she and Henry were drugged and spent one absurd night together. When they woke up and faced a room full of cameras and reporters, Henry had no choice but to accept, with a dark expression, that he had a marriage arrangement with Monica. But after that incident, Henry became convinced that Monica was the one who had drugged him, and he despised her deeply. On top of that, Rachel, the second female lead, kept sowing discord between them. Henry became increasingly cruel to Monica until, in the end, Monica was completely heartbroken and left for another country. Only then did Henry regret everything and begin his belated groveling arc of trying to win his wife back. After sorting through the entire plot, then looking at the scumbag man and wretched woman in front of me, the corner of my mouth twitched uncontrollably. What an absolute circus. The heroine was insane too. Could you just pick up a random man from the street like that? This time, Rachel could no longer keep up her act as a weak little white lotus. As she struggled, she shrieked, "Shut up. Monica, this is what you owe me. We're both Dad's daughters, so why were you born surrounded by love and attention, while my mother and I had to live in the shadows without name or status? You and that dead mother of yours stole the life that should have belonged to me and my mother." Without another word, I slapped her twice. Smack, smack. What died in your mouth to make your breath stink so badly the moment you open it? If you didn't want to live in the shadows, then maybe your mother shouldn't have become a mistress. She interfered in someone else's family, and now you think the legal wife owed you? With values like yours, you still dare to be an actress? When you play decent characters, don't you feel like you're spiritually incompatible with the role? By then, Henry had recovered too. He rushed forward and pulled me away, shouting sternly, "If you have a problem, take it out on me. Don't hurt Rachel." I raised my hand and slapped him twice more across the face. "Fine, then I'll take it out on you. I really do have a score to settle with you. You spend every day acting deranged, insisting I drugged you. What makes you think so highly of yourself? I'm gorgeous enough to make fish sink and geese fall, to outshine the moon and shame the flowers. The people chasing me could line up from here to the North Pole, and you really think I'd be interested in you? Even a Muslim kissing you would count as breaking their faith. If I pissed on you, I wouldn't even dare use a diabetic's urine in case you tasted sweetness and got ideas. And you still have the nerve to act arrogant? Sleeping with you was my loss." Henry's face flushed red. "You? What did you just say?" I waved a hand, cutting him off, while quickly pulling out my phone. "Don't bother explaining. No wonder you always wear your pants so tightly. Turns out you're insecure." Before he could retort, I flipped my phone screen toward him. "Hello, this is a VCR. Please look carefully and see who drugged you back then." The video was from a hidden surveillance angle. In the footage, a slender woman poured some unknown liquid into 2 glasses of water, glanced around, and quickly left. The camera captured a small side profile of her face. It was unmistakably Rachel, the same woman now weeping like a pear blossom in the rain. In truth, the original Monica had already discovered the truth and obtained the evidence long ago. But she was stubborn and refused to tell Henry, determined to see just how far he would go in misunderstanding her. What the actual hell? Having a mouth and not using it should be a crime. Henry stood frozen in disbelief. Rachel, meanwhile, panicked and tried to snatch my phone. "It's fake. It has to be fake. Brother Henry, Monica must have forged this. Henry, you have to believe me." I quickly pulled the phone back. "Whether it's real or fake, we'll know once we send it to the forensic department for testing. Please don't assume my brain is on the same level as that thing sitting on your neck, okay?" Henry's entire worldview seemed to take a hit. His eyes drifted blankly from me to Rachel. "Why? Rachel, don't you like me too? Why would you drug me and Monica?" Holy shit. I was so angry I laughed. "No, bro, you really should be grateful you were born early, back when prenatal screening technology wasn't advanced. If you were born now, you probably wouldn't even pass a 4D ultrasound. Obviously, Rachel wanted to drug you and herself. I was just an innocent victim caught in the crossfire, okay?" I clicked my tongue in wonder and looked Henry up and down. A brain that's never been used really is simple. If you sold it by weight, it'd probably fetch a few dollars more than everyone else's. At this point, Henry no longer had the energy to care about my insults. He murmured, "So I've been misunderstanding her all this time. So it really wasn't Monica who drugged me." His gaze drifted and landed dazedly on Rachel, who was trembling all over. "Rachel, how much else have you lied to me about?" Rachel shook like a sieve. She clutched Henry's arm tightly and sobbed pitifully. Nothing else, Henry. Only this one thing. I only did something foolish because I loved you too much. I never expected an accident to happen. I was afraid you would hate me, so I didn't dare tell you the truth. Really, Henry, please forgive me. I had no time to watch this deranged couple perform their melodrama. I curled my lip, turned around, and left. I still had plenty of things to do. After returning to a property under my name, I cleaned myself up, changed clothes, and arranged to meet with a divorce lawyer. Since I had transmigrated into the heroine of a tragic romance novel, of course I had to get divorced as quickly as possible to avoid being tortured. The lawyer listened carefully to my thoughts, took the materials I had prepared, and began working on the division of assets. Then, with impressive efficiency, they drafted a clear and detailed divorce agreement. After reading it carefully, I nodded in satisfaction. Leaving with nothing was impossible. I refused to suffer even the slightest loss. By the time everything was finished, the sky had already gone dark. Looking at the hundreds of millions in assets, several luxury mansions, and countless luxury cars that would belong to me according to the agreement, my grin stretched almost to my ears. In excellent spirits, I went home, enjoyed the high-end services of the massage bathtub in the ultra-luxurious bathroom, changed into my pajamas, and walked into the bedroom feeling fresh and clean while drying my hair. Then, without warning, the figure on the bed nearly scared the soul out of me. Are you trying to die? Why are you sitting here in the middle of the night instead of sleeping, pretending to be all deep and brooding? Henry slowly raised his head and looked at me, his gaze dark and unreadable. Monica, so I really did misunderstand you, he said quietly. I rolled my eyes. Yes, exactly, sweetheart. So what you should be doing right now is apologizing to me, not sitting here acting depressed. Henry's lips moved. In a low voice, he said, I'm sorry. Before? I misunderstood you. Oh. I nodded. Received. Perfect timing, then. Here, sign this. I took the divorce agreement I had already signed out of my bag. I've already signed it. You can read through the terms carefully. If there are any issues, both sides can bring our lawyers and negotiate. If negotiation doesn't work, we can go to court. Either way, I'm not letting myself suffer a loss. Henry took it, but his fingers slowly tightened around the document. He lifted his head, faint traces of red visible in his narrow eyes. You want to divorce me? I widened my eyes. What else? His voice trembled slightly. I've already apologized to you. What right do you have to still divorce me? I closed my eyes for a moment, speechless. My God, what a huge attitude for someone who holds absolutely no official position. What right? You're asking me what right? Obviously, it's because I've had enough of living with you. I can't stand watching you flirt ambiguously with my illegitimate half-sister every day. A man who doesn't respect himself is like rotten cabbage. Is that clear enough for you to understand? Henry even looked a little wronged. Before, I misunderstood you. I apologized, and from now on, I can make it up to you. As for Rachel, although it's true that she framed you, I can't let her down. After all, she's my lifesaver. But I promise I won't cross any lines with her. You will always be Mrs. Miller. She won't threaten your position. I had almost forgotten about that part. Rachel had also stolen the credit for the original Monica saving Henry's life. After thinking about it, I still decided not to tell Henry the truth directly. After all, I still wanted a divorce. If Henry found out I was actually his lifesaver, the divorce would probably become impossible. No. I did not want to spend my days with a man this incapable of understanding anything. Besides, what did he mean by that? One woman hidden at home and another kept outside? Bro, do you know something? Sometimes I really suspect your brain and your intestines got installed in the wrong places. If someone squeezed you, shit would come out of both ends. Don't you think what you just said is hilarious? What exactly are you, thinking you can have two women at once? Do you think you're that handsome? Do you think you're so handsome that even the lice on you would have double eyelids? I said coldly, sign the divorce agreement as soon as possible. If you don't sign, we'll go to court. There's no room for discussion. Once we're divorced, you can repay your debt however you want. You can pull out your intestines, tie them into a bow, and hang them around her neck for all I care. Just stop whining at me. The veins on Henry's forehead throbbed. Through gritted teeth, he said, Monica, you have no heart. Then, like he was throwing a tantrum, he signed his name stroke by stroke. Don't regret this. In the future, even if you beg me, I won't turn back. I snatched the signed divorce agreement from him, my face lighting up with joy. Great. Then you can put your heart in your hemorrhoid and stop worrying about the imaginary 5 million from your dreams. Safe travels. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Henry looked furious. He stormed out and slammed the door so hard the frame shook. What an absolute testosterone disaster. But looking at the successfully signed divorce agreement, I still couldn't stop smiling. Delighted, I drifted sweetly into dreamland. Divorce had a 30-day cooling-off period. During that time, I shopped, traveled, and had the time of my life. On the last day of the cooling-off period, Henry ruined my good mood with a phone call. He told me to go back and attend his grandfather's 70th birthday banquet. Why? I have no obligation to attend. If you don't come, I'll tear up the divorce agreement right now. The cooling-off period isn't over yet. If you come, I can go with you to get the divorce certificate immediately. Damn him. What a tempting offer. I agreed at once, rushed to the Civil Affairs Bureau, and swiftly finalized the divorce. The moment I got the divorce certificate in my hand, I was so happy I could have flown. Henry looked at me with a complicated expression. Are you really that happy to divorce me? I rolled my eyes inwardly. Don't worry about it. Just remember to clear your things out of the villa. The divorce agreement states very clearly that the villa belongs to me. On the night of the birthday banquet, I cursed under my breath while putting on the most expensive gown, the most expensive jewelry, and the most expensive makeup. Fine, I would go. Perfect. I still had some anger left to vent anyway. While I was at it, I also hired 20 bodyguards, all of them retired armed police officers. With those muscles, each one could probably punch 10 Henrys to death. Full of confidence and glittering from head to toe, I arrived at the banquet venue. The moment I entered, countless gazes turned toward me. To be fair, as the heroine of a novel, the original Monica's beauty was truly unmatched. Unlike Rachel's pure little white flower type, Monica was bright, elegant, poised, and noble. Today, dressed to look expensive enough to blind people, I was absolutely dazzling. Without looking sideways, I walked all the way to the front. The moment Grandpa Miller saw me, his eyes lit up. My granddaughter-in-law is here. I stepped forward gracefully and handed him the gift in my hands. Just a small token of my regard. Grandpa Miller accepted it with delight. You're so thoughtful, child. Where's Henry? Why didn't he come with you? I was just about to speak when a commotion came from the entrance of the hall. I followed the sound and saw Henry walking in with Rachel. I had to admit, they looked quite well matched, both in appearance and in intelligence. Among the onlookers, voices began to discuss in tones neither too loud nor too quiet. Young Master Miller really isn't giving Monica any face at all. He openly brought an illegitimate daughter to the old master's birthday banquet. He's practically trampling Monica's dignity into the ground. If you ask me, young Master Miller has terrible taste. In terms of looks, figure, family background, and status, Monica is definitely superior. What kind of nonsense is it to keep an illegitimate daughter who can't even appear respectably in public by his side? Just then, Rachel walked up to Grandpa Miller and me with her arm linked through Henry's. Henry's expression looked somewhat unnatural, but Rachel generously handed Grandpa Miller a beautifully wrapped gift box. Grandpa, I wish you health, longevity, and many more years of happiness. Grandpa Miller's face was cold. He did not even look at the gift, only fixed his eyes on his precious grandson. You brat, what is the meaning of this? Rachel looked rather embarrassed at being ignored. Henry gave a light cough. Grandpa, Rachel came to wish you a happy birthday too. It's a kind gesture, after all. She chose this gift very carefully for a long time. You should accept it. As Henry spoke, his gaze kept drifting toward me. Rachel's eyes also flicked in my direction from time to time, her expression full of smug triumph. I sneered. Grandpa, you should accept it. After all, this sister of mine might become your future granddaughter-in-law. Grandpa Miller was so angry he struck his cane heavily against the floor. He wouldn't dare. I'm not dead yet. Grandpa Miller glared at Henry. You brought such an unpresentable thing to my birthday banquet. Are you trying to anger me to death? The Miller family has always upheld a respectable family tradition. Who allowed you to fool around with some random woman? Discussion came from beside us as well. Exactly. They're all from old, prominent families. Reputation matters so much. Yet he openly brought a mistress into the family home as if she belonged here. Has young Master Miller lost his mind? Rachel's face turned deathly pale. I am not a mistress. Before the crowd could say anything, I had already let out a snort of laughter. Facing Rachel's furious glare, I adjusted my expression slightly. Sorry. I couldn't help it. Then I said solemnly, since we're all here, let me take this opportunity to clarify something. My sis Rachel is indeed not a mistress. The entire hall erupted in shock. Henry stared at me with a dark, unreadable gaze, and I had no idea what he was thinking. After all, Henry and I already got divorced this afternoon. The divorce certificate is still warm. Congratulations, everyone, on receiving the news firsthand. Please repost it to your social feed and invite 10 friends to help boost it, alright? Grandpa Miller trembled all over. What? I blinked. I'm sorry, Grandpa. The main reason I came today was also to make this matter clear. Henry and I have already divorced peacefully. I probably won't be able to come visit you often in the future. Grandpa Miller pointed at Rachel with a shaking finger. Was it because of this woman? No, Grandpa. My sis isn't a mistress. She simply loves rescuing unhappy married men. What did she do wrong? I smiled sweetly. Her mother works in the same field too. I'm sure everyone knows that already, haha, so I won't go into detail. Rachel's dignity was swept clean off the floor. Her face turned ashen, and the gentle expression she usually wore twisted with uncontrollable malice before she forcefully suppressed it and put on a pitiful, trembling act. Sis, how can you say that about me? You know my background is the thing I'm most sensitive about. Why do you have to stab me in the heart? Sis, I know you couldn't choose your birth, so you chose to follow in your mother's footsteps. That's why I forgive you. I forgive you for refusing to rise unsullied from the mud. No need to thank me. Truly, don't. Rachel was so angry her teeth chattered, yet somehow she still managed to keep pretending to be innocent. Fine. I'm the one who wronged you. Since you can't tolerate me this much, sis, I might as well die. Hearing that, I immediately took 2 steps back. Don't. How about you pick an unlucky day to die instead? That way, a bad day can become a good day. A few bursts of laughter sounded from the crowd. Just as things were getting lively, another group of people entered the hall. I looked closely and realized it was my biological father, my stepmother, and several bizarre relatives from my stepmother's family. I remembered that in the original novel, this stepmother was kind and gentle in public but a wolf and tiger behind closed doors. That whole group of relatives was also a collection of absolute oddities, clinging to the Garcia family and sucking its blood. Monica's useless father,